Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a while. But you, Burns, you've played it. You've played it to completion.
I have. I've completed the new Uncharted game. And you know what? It's pretty good.
Really?
Shocking.
Bated breath.
Yeah.
So you liked it?
I did like it.
In fact, I even heard you saying behind closed doors that it was the best one.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not particularly difficult. Having replayed them all for the Nathan Drake collection, they haven't aged very well, the original trilogy. It's a lot more confident, this game, and I don't know for sure, but I think that's the influence of The Last of Us. There's a lot more cutscenes in this game, and there's a lot more introspection. I mean, it's not, like fucking Magnolia, but Nathan Drake has a lot of struggles in the game that aren't related to just like binning men into fucking the sea or exploding stuff. It's at the start of the game, he's retired essentially, and like Rambo 3, except he's not fighting people for money, and he's got a legitimate job, and he's married, and he's adjusting to life without adventure, even though his day job still has a lot of adventure in it, what most normal people would consider to be adventure, but it's not enough for him. And there's also other factors in play, like his long lost brother turning up, and all these other stuff, all these shenanigans, which I won't say too much about as to keep it fairly fresh. But yeah, I think, as I said, The Last of Us' influence of having characters that actually talk about things other than, shooting people or getting to the next checkpoint or whatever has helped them out a lot. The performance capture is amazing. It's fantastic. The game looks brilliant, but the facial capture stuff is really, really good. Yeah,
I saw there's some really good. I mean, I've seen a few of the cutscenes, and this is what I think they like to call it digital acting in the dev industry, don't they? But it looks really.
It does look really good, and it needed to be good to sell what they were going for, because there's some scenes which have a lot of just boredom in them, like the boredom of being middle-aged and settling down into a life and a career which maybe isn't the one that you had or thought you were going to go into. Essentially a games journalist. So but no, that's very accomplished. I'm not saying that all of it's brilliant, and that some of the emotional beats, I can't really saying that about an Uncharted game, but that's what it's going for. Some of the emotional beats ring really hollow, and some of the logical leaps to get people to places are very poor. Some of those related to Elena, Nate's wife, and his brother. When they turn up in certain scenes, you would expect it to have a lot more resonance in the brother's case, and in his wife's case, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like Deus Ex Machina stuff. It's really, really poor in that regard. So it's kind of ups and downs, but it's mostly up. And I was very impressed with it in that regard for an Uncharted game. It's not, like I say, it's not a P.T. Anderson movie, but it's good. And like I say, if it makes the game feel very accomplished, because Uncharted, it always had those big bang moments where it's like, oh, I'm climbing up a train, or, I'm in a desert and there's a sandstorm, or the cruise ship's going under, or any of that crap. But this one seems, even though there are big moments in this, there's a jeep chase, which is really good, and a clock tower escape, which is fantastic. And those are kind of your marquee Uncharted moments. But this is a game which really pays a lot of attention to smaller moments, and it works. It works. The shooting is better. It's still not amazing, but there are times when it feels really, really good. There's an auto lock on now.
Okay.
So you can just snap to your enemies. But in general, even with that off, and I never put it on, it feels good to play. The shooting doesn't feel quite as poor as it did before. Acquiring, as people might say, your enemies is easier, and the guns don't seem as jittery. So yeah, in that regard, it's better. The set pieces, I don't think there's really a set piece in the game where people are going to be like, oh, that's like the train bit, the moments we were just talking about. But there are still very, very good moments. It just doesn't seem the game is now all about them. Like, they were very much front loaded, especially in the case of Uncharted 2. That opening is famous.
It just fades up on the train bit, doesn't
exactly.
it?
Yeah, again, it seems they're going for something with a little less, and by that I mean a little less bombast, to have something which actually says something about Nathan Drake and about coming to the end of, and it is clearly quite a personal thing about coming to the end of the series for the directors, as it is for Nathan Drake, the character, coming to the end, which unfortunately also manifests itself in a bit of a tedious 75 ending Return of the King epilogue strewn nonsense, and it's one of the most mindlessly indulgent epilogues I've played in games for a long time. It's not quite Metal Gear Solid 4 level, but it's bad. It's very bad, and it kind of takes the edge off what is a very strong ending to the game. I always felt with the other Uncharted games, they were very up and down in terms of, it's a big set piece, which is great, but now I'm just, I'm in a kill box just shooting people with guns that feel horrible to fire and poor AI, and Drake's a bit floaty. But now there's a more consistent level of action. Having said that, there's also a massive overuse of certain mechanics and systems, which takes a bit of the edge off. There's
kind of a Naughty Dog signature, that, though, isn't it?
There's
always one mechanic per game that seems to be overused.
So if in The Last of Us you felt like a fucking builder for most of the time, you had so many planks, you're crawling over, over houses and such. Here it is crates. There are so many crates knocking around on all these islands. They're all the same on all the islands. It's amazing. Like, their distributor must have such a grip on it. At one point, the game says, "Oh, Nate," because what happens is you and your partner character, you'll boost them up somewhere. You've got a fucking grappling hook, okay? Which is amazing when you're swinging around on it. Why aren't you using the grappling hook to climb like 8 feet high? Oh, you can jump like 100-foot ravine and like throw it out just as you're about to die on some spikes and swing up in your Indiana Jones sort of way. But this, it's just annoying. There's fucking more boost than a British newsagent, mate. It's awful. And so you're constantly boosting people up, and then it's this needless artifice. You know that the game just needs to pad out what it's doing, and so then they have to go and knock something down, and it's always a crate on wheels. And at one point, the game says, "I'll find a way to." This is like the 17th hour of crate finding, and it's like, "I'll find a way for you to get up, Drake or Nate." And I'm like, and in my brain, I went, "I wonder if it's a crate on wheels," and then it just fell into shot, and I actually congratulated myself. Like, I can't believe that was it. But then it was like, of course it is, because it's been that forever. And there's so much sliding. You slide around on your ass so fucking much in this game. I fear that Dave Perry would never be able to complete it. It's just, it's crazy the amount. And the game, you know that they know that there's too much of it when the game references it. So Nate says, "Oh, I hope we don't have to slide around anymore." And you're like, Yeah, we get it.
Bracing myself for more sliding around now.
Yeah. At the same time as that really dulls the impact of the game. Because when the game's at its best, you're climbing, you're exploring, you're going forward. In those instances, you're stopped in your tracks while someone or something gets the crate. And there's too much of that. A lot. Far too much of that. But at the same time, an accomplished game, a bloody good adventurer, a competent shooter in a lot of ways now. And I think a lot of fans will be very happy at the way it's left the story. Which, considering that Nate is just a classic, "Oh, gee, shucks, I can't believe I killed all these people." For him to actually have some emotional depth, even if it's not particularly deep, is something. And so they should be, the directors and the writers should be commended for that. So, I mean, as a platform exclusive, it fucking looks amazing as well. Yeah. So get in on it.
Absolutely. Well, I have to say, I was quite interested to see how an Uncharted game would pan out in the sort of post Last of Us grown up Naughty Dog world, because that game changed Naughty Dog for me. Like, shit, this is Uncharted, but it's got heart and it's got soul.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that transferred to an Uncharted game and see how that works. So looking forward to it.
Well, those chaffing idiots don't know what they're talking about. For another opinion on Uncharted 4, make sure you click the left video to watch my review, where I focus on Nathan Drake's physique, and click the right video to see the top 5 moments in Hitman Episode 2. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button, and make sure you share the damn video so other people can know what Video Gamer thinks about Uncharted 4.